Welcome, welcome all. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining us today for New in 2022. So we are here kicking off the new year with some new players or some old players with new products in the space for us to bring value, drive revenue for MSPs. So we've got some folks here today. I'm going to quickly give an overview of who I've got with us and then talk through how we are going to play along at home. One of the first things you're going to want to do is look in chat and grab this link, which is the score sheet. And we'll explain the score sheet in just a minute. So as I hop through who we have with us today, we have Brad Jervis from Probax shouting out about Scout for Veeam backup and replication. So I think you'll see the abilities they're bringing to the table and the value they bring for MSPs will provide some offense and defense today. Next up, we'll have Sean Lardo from OIT VoIP with the MobileX solution. So we learned a lot yesterday in chatting with the Aussie audience about really how this is unique positioning in the space. After that, we have Jim Lippy from SAS Alerts. So they've got a couple new reporting and customizing alerts that they're bringing to the space, which provides some new opportunities for MSPs to really sell into prospects, et cetera. Along with Tracy from Breach Secure Now with some very powerful prospecting tools. One of the new things Lifecycle Insights is bringing to new in 2022 is an integration with Breach Secure Now. So we've seen that power up close and personal for sure. And then finally, we have Alex with Lifecycle Insights and our new customer success module. So we are excited to kick things off. I am going to invite Brad over to the party. And as Brad comes on, I'll tell you what the worksheet's all about, or the score sheet. So you've got everybody listed on your score sheet, and you have a column for offense and defense. So let's talk about the players that are bringing offense and defense to the space. Offense is where we will talk about how they can help managed services sell, how they can make money, and how they can differentiate their services and really differentiate your business in what's an increasingly commoditized area of technology. In defense, this is all about protection. How do you protect your MSP? How do you protect your clients? How do you protect your time and money? So how do these products save time, save money? So as we go along, take some notes in the offense, defense columns and think about how these are bringing new strengths and abilities to MSPs in terms of that offense and defense. You got a check mark to say like, yep, I like what they said there. And at the end of each person chatting, I'll throw up a poll so that you can say if you're interested in getting more information or if it's not right for you right now. That way we'll get that feedback straight away. So we're excited to see everybody here. Thanks for joining. Feel free to put questions in the chat. The plan will be for them to, for us to have a little interaction for 6-7 minutes or so. We'll answer questions from the crowd before we move on to the next one. So feel free to chat up and folks will happily respond along in the chat and also out loud. So Brad, welcome. Happy New in 2022.
So much for having me, Marnie. This is great and really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am excited to chat Probax. I've learned a lot since I first met you all last year with your new product and really some of the services that you already had, I think have some unique differentiators for MSPs. So how about you tell us about yourself, what's new in 2022 and the value you bring for MSPs. And I'm going to stop sharing. So if you want to share a screen, feel free.
Great. Excellent. Thank you. So just a little bit about us while I go through and actually share my screen here. Perfect. So Probax, we are a service provider for backup as a service, disaster recovery as a service, SaaS backup as a service that specifically target MSPs. So we don't deal with any direct sell clients. It's only for MSPs. And one of the things that we noticed is I'm a big Veeam guy. I come from a Veeam cloud service provider. And Veeam is honestly best of breed technology right now. If you look at the Gartner Magic Quadrant, it's all the way up there in the right hand top column. And The problem is for MSPs is Veeam wasn't really built for MSPs. And there's a lot of technology gaps that comes in with that. And it's really not very good for folks, because if it's not built for an MSP to have multi-tenancy and to have all this stuff that we need as MSPs to be able to build a backup offering around it, we're kind of just shut out of this best of breed technology. So what we've done is we've said, hey, let's add an additional layer on top of Veeam using our portal, which is called Hive, to be able to enable MSPs to actually build a scalable backup offering to provide to their clients based on the best of breed technology. So with this, we have our new Scout for VBR product. And what this is it's effectively, if you can see my screen here, we have all my Veeam customers with their backup and replication servers down here. And effectively what we do is we install a Scout agent on top of every single VBR server, and that communicates back directly to our Hive portal. So having that agent on there allows us to integrate directly with Veeam and give us a lot of information that we normally wouldn't be able to have. So as you can see here, I just got a basic screenshot of the number of all of our demo accounts, the hosts, repository spaces, backup jobs. And as we click into the actual VBR itself, we can see we can go through manage licenses, manage jobs, have repository information, download logs, all of that other fun stuff that you get from some of the other products that are specifically targeted towards MSPs, except we're doing it with the Veeam technology itself.
So first, love the flex. I'm a big Veeam guy. That in and of itself, I think is a fantastic thing to say. So tell me what sets you all apart from others.
Great. Yeah. So, most of our competitors, there's two of our competitors basically. So one is going to be the MSP focused backup and disaster recovery solutions, and the other is going to be Veeam Cloud Service Provider. So we're the only Veeam Cloud Service Provider that actually does direct to channel, direct to MSPs. That's the big set apart for that aspect. The rest of it though is with regards to disaster recovery, and this is what I mostly wanted to spend my time talking today, because a lot of folks, when they talk about disaster recovery, they don't really have a full picture based on the current paradigm of disaster recovery, right? So when you talk disaster recovery, you talk recovery time objective, which is how long can you be down, and recovery point objective, which is how old can your data be that you bring up in, right? Now the problem is I can be someone who does disaster recovery from backup, and I can spin up in 5 minutes or something from my backup files. The question becomes, okay, great. How long is it going to take me to fail that data back? Right. And this is something a lot of people don't think about. It's sort of okay, we'll get up and then we'll figure out the rest later. But my point is we really need to actually consider that that's a big thing, right? So a lot of disaster recovery initiations aren't really because of any kind of full site failure or disaster, building burning down or flooded, anything like that. It's a lot of preemptive stuff, right? So a storm is coming and I live in Florida. So let me preemptively fail over to my DR site that's up in the east or up on the East Coast further north, so it's not going to be affected. Maybe there's a power outage in my building and I want to fail over and allow users to continue to work during that time. But the problem is I can fail over in 5-10 minutes and then it's going to be, okay, great. Well, it's going to take me 5 days to fail back to download all that data, or all of it gets copied onto a USB drive and then sent over. So was it ever really worth failing over? And the answer is no. So that's why what we've said is we need to have failback time objectives, to a lesser extent, failback point objectives, because when we're failing back, we know what point we're at, but that's still very critical. But the failback time objective needs to be included in every single DR plan. On top of that, just to mention this, the recovery time objective, I would argue that you haven't met your recovery time objective until all of your critical users can connect into the environment itself. So it's not only important to be able to spin these servers and services up, you need to have a comprehensive DR plan that allows your users to easily go in and say, okay, great, here's how I access my work, here's how I do everything via DR. And that all comes down into having a proper DR plan and proper user training on how to react during that.
So how would users access the environment once it's online in a disaster recovery site? What does that look like? Seems like it's faster than other solutions, or maybe impossible with other solutions, faster than others.
Yeah, it's, for us, we have a lot of options available. There are some other solutions out there where you are very limited, but for us, it's always going to come down to a few easy ways, right? If you have a web form that needs to be accessed or something like Exchange or something, and the user can access it via the website, you can just expose that via NAT roles, via virtual firewall. You can also do client-to-site VPN, site-to-site VPN. Maybe you'll have a temporary site users work out of, and you do a site-to-site VPN back to it. There's a lot of options available, but the main point I want to make with that is it's going to be different for every company. Every company works in different ways. Users interact with the environment in different ways. And that's why it's critical to talk to your clients and give them the options, understand their requirements, understand their users' needs, and provide them the best option for them moving forward.
So I'm curious, in the land of disaster recovery, how often do folks test that this actually works for them? What do you have recommendations for that?
Yeah, great question. Some folks think I did my DR test and I'm good and I don't have to worry about it again. Realistically, technology changes constantly. Software is updated. We switch vendors. What you did last year very well may be different this year. So we recommend that folks do a test at least once a year, ideally more than that, depending. Anytime you do a major software change, swapping something out, anything like that where your DR is no longer going to be necessary, you need to be thinking about, okay, great. How do I bring this up in DR? What's going to be best? Does anything change? If nothing does, great, awesome. But you need to be thinking about it, and you need to actually talk to the users, talk to the people that are important in keeping the business running, and make sure that, anything that you say, if you say to a customer, I've got DR for you, and I can spin you up in a disaster site, and we don't think about some of these things, and you spin it up and you have to spend 6 hours troubleshooting when it should have just been 15 minutes, that's the last place you want to be. So it's a constantly evolving process. It's constantly evolving based on the technology. We need to make sure that we communicate back to our customers exactly what's needed and how often we need to test these.
Awesome. So as I'm going to launch the poll, and as folks think about if they would like to learn more about ProBacks, I'd like to talk X's and O's, right? So I've got the X on defense and the O's on offense. And when I think about ProBacks, I think there's a lot of defense there in being able to protect. But really, there's a major proactive component of this, because to your point, there are the big crises, but there are also lots of smaller but still emergencies, hurricanes, et cetera, where, outages that you need to cover for. So I see a lot of offense and defense. Am I missing pieces there? Or what else would you add to the ProBack story?
No, that's entirely right. I mean, the defense is, we recover from disasters that might have occurred. The offense is we proactively say, okay, I can see that this hurricane is coming. I know this power outage is going to happen. I can keep my business online and running, and I know that I can fail back within a good amount of time, and I'm not putting myself in any kind of position like that. So it's a mix between offense and defense. And frankly, I think that, disaster recovery is more offense than defense. It's defense in the sense that you're preparing for something that is, potentially going to happen. You never want it to, but it's the inevitable that's going to happen that you want to adequately be prepared for. And I would argue that that's more offense than defense.
Well, and as a sales tool for MSPs, that's very much part of the offense, is the way we've described it. So thank you so much. Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the big thing that I would say is, as an MSP, you need to be offensive in making your clients understand exactly the cost of being down. And as soon as you put a dollar value into that, the cost of having a DR solution, it just sells itself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Folks, go ahead and wrap up that poll as I bring our next presenter on. We have Sean from OIT VoIP.
Hello.
Hello. All right, so Sean, I'm going to end that poll, and so that we can get started with you. MobileX. So you've told me a bit about MobileX. I think there's a lot of features, functionalities, and I put a lot of this on offense because it seems like a great thing for MSPs to sell. But I would like to hear your take on that.
I just saw a chat. Thanks, Bob Beck, for showing up. Yeah. So yes. And actually, do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, you certainly may. Let me stop sharing mine.
That's very nice of you.
Yeah, anything for you, Sean.
You know what? I always, yes.
If more people would think the same way, really.
Right, exactly. So are you seeing my
No, we're seeing your daughters. I'm just kidding. No, we're seeing your flyer.
Perfect. Well, I mean, there's simply no way of telling what you're going to see. Anyway, yes. So you said the question about it's purely offense. Of course, it's offense in a way, and it's also defense in a way. And I'll explain the two. I mean, OIT, we're a VoIP company. If you don't know us, feel free to look us up, OIT VoIP. And we went into the year, and actually, let's back this up. 2 years we've been in this COVID state, right? And communications are just ridiculously essential every day for everything, right?
Yeah.
It's the core need for across the board. So when we went into this, we already today, as any other VoIP provider should do, we offer the ability for, when we discuss communication from anywhere, allowing people to install their number, apply their number onto multiple devices, right? So that way their desk phone, their laptop, as a soft phone for laptop, iPad, whatever, and mobile apps and Teams integration. So the evolution has occurred based out of necessity, right? We decided that we need to go one step further, and just with talking to Brad there and talking about disaster recovery and all that good stuff. And if you don't know, our corporate office is in Miami Lakes, so back to Florida, hurricanes and whatnot. We realized the essential piece was to make sure they had the ability to communicate from anywhere, everywhere, all the time. So as we went down this journey, we decided that, hey, something that's just so key, especially predating this even, is outside sales reps, but the team working remote, people using their cell phone. You have 300 million people in the US today, and venture to say 90% of them are using cell phones, right? How many employees are using cell phones, their personal cell phones, or how many companies are buying cell phones for employees and supporting this? So what MobileX really does is gives you the ability to actually install that into the phone without having to have extra apps, which is so key. And also there's data packages involved with this as well. That way, if there's outages or whatnot, you're still, if Wi-Fi goes down, VoIP goes down. We know this. Here, you're just like a mobile app, even you're starting to pick up data. So there's a couple really big, key, important parts here. Offensively, yes, it's definitely a great sales tactic because hell, I worked for companies that have bought us cell phones and paid the bill, and I saw the bill. And for a new smartphones, what, no less than $800, if not $1,500, depending on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, when you're presenting to a potential prospect, if they have 10 sales reps or 10 remote employees that are using their cell phones, consultants, whatever, it's 1,000 times 10 right then and there. That's what you're saving, right off the bat. So terrific sales tool, but also for those companies that want to be able to monitor what's going on within phone calls and not lose the data that is necessary. Case in point, law offices, when they have attorneys that are billing by the minute and they need to transfer the call over, they can do this and they can still track all this stuff right from here as well. It's all part of the VoIP offering. So you don't lose any of the integrity of the information, data, or anything for that matter.
So I hear lots of things when I hear that, but one of the ones, having been handed 2 cell phones before with, and they don't put pockets in any women's clothing. So like I was already 2 hands down on that. So users can use their own cell phones, and this application, or not application. So MobileX is just a piece of what then comes along with them without having the expense of the $800 cell phone or whatever device they would.
They can use their existing cell phone. It's essentially adding on a multiple SIMs. There's another SIM basically is what we're doing here. And they can easily toggle between their work number and their personal. And again, all the work stuff is being tracked. If it comes through the work line, it's coming through MobileX. It is being tracked. It is using that data. Everything is involved in that for the employer. So they can track every aspect of it. And it maintains the integrity of communication as well. They're not losing calls. Because I travel a lot, you travel a lot. How many times will we miss calls because we have no access to our work line?
Right.
I couldn't begin to fathom the amount of money's lost as a result of not having access from companies.
So I have a question that came into me is, could you talk a bit more about sort of pricing for MSPs and,
Sure.
Yeah.
So, well, let's step back 1 second. OIT VoIP itself, we have 2 programs. We have a channel and a white label program. When it boils down to pricing, is dependent on what kind of program you want to go into with us. I will tell you right now, and if whoever asked that question, if we want to talk more, I'd be happy to share everything, but we are limited for time. But it's far more lucrative when you look at white label. Our white label partners are seeing about an 80% margin on everything they do with us. So whether it's MobileX or just plain old hosted seats. And also, I put this up here. And back to the defensive piece is about training, enabling your partners to be able to set the proper expectations so you don't lose an understanding of what is supposed to be happening here, because we see that happen a lot where people don't know what to say or when to say and how to say these things. And then because expectations are wrong, that breaks down the integrity of the actual opportunity, the relationship, and leads to further security issues or defensive in your vocabulary here, leads to a defensive positioning that you have to have.
Yeah.
So we focus heavily on doing this. And this is one of the pieces of content we made. We share this to all of our partners. They obviously, we want them to use it. And the reason why, and we even do it where with our white label partners, where we don't even brand it. And this is just a simple document. I'm not meaning to expand that way, but you can see we removed the logo and everything else. I left it on purpose like this so people can see that this is like a Photoshop, or the file itself can be altered. We give all the content for everything that we represent to you all, that you represent to your clients. We've already repurposed this, created marketing content, make sure the messaging is there, make sure you know what to say there. That way you don't mislead anybody by accident, because I don't think anybody ever does it intentionally. So the fact of the matter is,
the language is all built so it's accurate, correct. It's
correct.
It's sales language. So it's a piece of sales enablement material for them, which is like offense on top of offense.
Correct. Which is we put this on our Partner Central portal. Everything for our partners, they go right into here and they can access all sales, marketing, and any kind of information they need for any documentation. It's all there set up for them so they never have a problem.
Perfect. Well, thank you. So going back to the board, back to the chart. We've got for OIT, I have a lot of offense for you, right? That's sort of what I had predicted. It would be a great sales tool, but also we've got a couple end arounds, right? A couple circles, because I think, and you brought it up at the beginning, in this world, communication is really what drives all of the businesses, the conversations, the strategy. And so VoIP, MobileX is part of that communication cycle, which is what really is driving all business today.
Absolutely. Yeah. Easy access to everything is important.
Yeah.
It has to be simple to use, simple to download, simple to everything. It just makes up, otherwise it's cumbersome and people will not adopt, will not use. And again, speaking from my own personal experiences, I'm on the road, making phone calls is happening on a regular basis. So it's extremely important to us.
Yeah, no question. So for those that are in the audience, I have thrown up a poll. If you'd like to learn more about OIT VoIP, you can choose to schedule a demo, have some information sent your way, or if not right now is your response, we'll take that one too. So let me leave that up for a minute while numbers are piling in, and let me throw up our next presenter. So our next participant today is Jim Lippy from SAS Alerts. So I first heard about SAS Alerts last year in Austin, I believe, boy, so orphan files are something that just come to mind when I hear you. But you've got in 2022, I'm looking at what I've got on the screen: enhanced reporting, customized alert thresholds, remediation module. So tell me more and the value that's bringing to MSPs. Let me end this poll and I'll stop sharing my screen so we can have you. There you go.
Great. Thanks, Marty. Actually, if you can bring the screen back up, I just want to touch on some of those points. That'll be great. And then I'll share my screen in a second.
Perfect.
So first of all, Marty, great to be here. Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. Yes, we launched in January of 2021 at SAS Alerts. I'm Jim Lippy, CEO. And when we first launched the product, it was just how to manage and secure your SaaS applications, 365, Google Workspace, Salesforce.com, Dropbox, Slack, all the applications that small businesses are using. The MSP's customer, they're using these applications every single day. One of the things I ask MSPs all the time, what do you think the applications that your customers use the most are, right? And really, when you think about it, you're in, whether it's 365 or Google Workspace, if those are your productivity apps, those are the applications that you are in the most, therefore you care most about. So how come we're not doing more to secure those applications as MSPs? Why are we not doing more to help manage those applications as MSPs? So that's why we have SAS Alerts. And when we launched, we just had the manage module. Now, when we think about the platform, it's really MRR, manage, report, remediate. Okay.
I feel like those are letters that really stick in the minds of MSPs.
Yes, exactly. They're letters that MSPs know, right?
Yeah.
So it works out great that way. So we have launched the report module, this past spring, and we've enhanced it. I'm going to show you that in a second. In March 15th, we're releasing version 1 of Remediate. And that will allow MSPs to do some very simple remediation tasks associated with their customer SaaS applications. So, and then also, which I did not put in new in 2022, we will also have some additional MSP tools that we'll be monitoring. Right now, we monitor for the MSP free of charge if they're on the platform, IT Glue, and also Ninja One. And coming in Q1, we'll also have most likely ConnectWise, then later Kaseya and Data, RMMs. So the tools that every MSP is using to be able to monitor the user behavior with those applications is really important. And that's additional insight that we give the MSP.
Yeah, I feel like they're in there once or twice a day, like like they occasionally hit those PSAs.
So when we talk about enhanced reporting, I will now share my screen.
Yeah.
Marty. And this is when we talk about offense and defense. It's really important that we show the customer what we're doing for them, right? One of the struggles, and as a former MSP CEO myself, one of the struggles that we have as MSPs is demonstrating the value to the customer, because so much of what we do is intangible. They're not necessarily seeing it. They have to believe, right, that we're doing what we're doing on their behalf. Well, one of the great things about SAS Alerts from a report standpoint is you're able to show them the value that you're demonstrating every single day around protecting their SaaS environment. So first of all, here you can go to settings and you can put your logo in here and change the color scheme to whatever your color scheme is for your organization, right? So this is completely customizable. And then here from a scheduling standpoint, a few clicks of a button and, I hit new schedule and I want to send a recurring report to a specific customer. Monthly, I could do it daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. That doesn't matter. I will ultimately select the report that I want to send to the customer, and then I will put in their email address, and bam, that report is delivered in their inbox the first day of every month. To let them know this is what we're capturing for you. This is how we're protecting your SaaS environment. So the reports themselves, really straightforward. We've got the SAS cyber assessment, perfect for, and I know you talk a lot about, monthly and quarterly business reviews, right? we tackle this on the SaaS security side. We've got the SAS risk report, which is perfect for prospecting offense, right? So now we're going out and we're gaining customers by showing them, hey, look, these are all the bad actors trying to gain access into your environment, or existing customers that refuse to put MFA in their environment. Yeah. But wait a minute, everyone just complies with MFA, right? And wrong, people hate it. That's why we have to show them that this is something that they need. So this again is not telling, this is showing. We've got the user detail report, which shows what the user is doing and how they're acting within their SaaS-based applications, which is great in a day and age where a lot of people are in hybrid and working from home. Externally shared files and file sharing reports to show, you mentioned it before, orphan links. We're all sharing. One of the great things about SaaS applications, it's really easy to share information. One of the bad things about SaaS applications, it's really easy to share information.
That's exactly right. Your strength is your weakness sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're able to capture all of that and highlight to the end customer the behavior that we need to mitigate to protect their environment. So I'll just, on the offensive side here, you'll just come in, select a customer that you have in SAS Alerts. We'll look at we'll look at data from December 1st until today, and we'll run this. And this shows all the bad actors in the world. They're attempting to get into the SaaS environment. So in this case, we've got over 12,500 total attacks and 18 files are at risk, right? So this is, again, great if you're going into a prospect and saying, this is what we can do for you. Is your MSP currently doing this for you? Are they mitigating your risk around your SaaS environment? If not, we can come in and for a very low price, at least tackle this for you. Then you build a relationship and rapport from there.
Yeah.
Get your foot in the door and then move into a more managed relationship.
So
So
the other
great
piece,
from an offensive perspective.
like, I hate to interrupt you preaching about your pieces, but the piece that fascinates me about that is you've got 12,000, alerts, but really 18 critical pieces. Like, you didn't say, guess what? We're going to send you 12,000 alerts monthly. So, by the end of the year, you've got 1.4 million alerts coming your way. Like, it distills it down to like the critical pieces for people. I think to me, that's a big deal.
Yes, it is a big deal. And people's eyes glaze over when you give them too much.
Oh,
and what we
and
want to do
12,000 is too much.
Yeah. So on defense, right, we're talking about the business reviews and demonstrating the value to our existing customers. So they know that what they're paying us every single month is actually worth it, and they should continue paying that, right? So customer retention is always a good idea.
We
So
agree.
we'll look at the same time frame, and we'll run the report. And this is SAS Cyber Assessment. This shows the most recent activity, in the environment. This shows that, look, as your MSP, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, we've looked at over 55,000 total events. 18 of those were critical, and 235 were medium level alerts throughout that 6-week time frame. This is an incident breakdown, the failed login attempts. Those are 752 brute force attacks. By the way, we explain everything in English for you because, again, you could be sending these out, being the scheduling feature to customers, not necessarily always in front of them, showing them what's going on. So, and then the last thing I'll say is I love this specific gauge because this information to me as the MSP, Marty, might be completely innocuous, but when I share it with you, the customer, it can take on different
New meaning. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So P. Moyer, for instance, was responsible for 28 critical alerts in this time period. I don't know that P. Moyer actually left the organization 3 weeks ago, but you do, right, as a CEO. So you're going to be like, wait a minute, he left 3 weeks ago. Can we go back and look to see what that activity was, right? Maybe he was downloading excessive amounts of information from Salesforce or OneDrive, sharing information outside people in the organization. All information that would be really helpful, and making people want to take business reviews with you because information is that pertinent. I remember as a former MSP, getting people sometimes to take business reviews at the CEO, CFO level was difficult. But when you come armed with information like this, it's a lot easier to score those. So
no question. I mean, the human side of the house we know is the biggest threat, right? And so to be able to help them see their humans and speak to humans, that's very much what a CEO would like to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, it's offense, it's defense. We've got a lot of great stuff coming out in 2022, and we really appreciate the opportunity to share.
Oh, well, we're super glad you came. So I just launched the poll so folks can say if they would like to learn more about SAS Alerts. So when I had my X's and O's on the board, I had that you sort of were defense, like at the B, and then you've just convinced me that the offense is the ability to sell. I feel like because you're showing places where humans are causing the problem, right? That's kind of a very proactive defensive move for businesses. And then the fact that you can give this information with monthly reporting, easy for CEOs to understand, that's very much an offense for MSPs. It really gives them some prospecting opportunities and some sales opportunities for their business as well. So what is the cost for MSPs for this as folks finish up the poll? How do they go to market with this? Yeah.
It's 50 cents per user per month. That's what we charge the MSP. And, we have MSPs that go to market anywhere between $2 and $6 per user per month on a per license basis, or they bundle it into their existing security stack already. But We started in January. We now are up to 360 MSPs and over 100,000 users.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. I am going to call up our next guest, Tracy from Breach Secure Now. Tracy, welcome. I feel like Jim, having just spoke, really sets you up nicely because you are human MSP human firewall mentor, and really speak to how humans are the threat in so many businesses. So I feel like this is a soft handoff to you. And also because I've seen a sneak peek of the powerful prospecting tool you have, like I'm excited to hear you talk about what's new in 22 for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Marnie. And thank you to all of the panelists already, because I did hear a very strong trend, and that was human vulnerability. So thank you for prefacing that for me. And it's a sad reality though, right? Our MSPs are faced with that as well. And that's a very difficult thing to convey to your end users, is just how at risk they are as humans. Many times they think, the risk is outside of their organization. They're not thinking internally. It couldn't be me, Mr. or Mrs. Employee, that could be causing a data breach or any kind of risk at all. So I certainly can sympathize and empathize with our MSP partners out there who are kind of struggling to show those results in a tangible way. That being said, Breach Secure Now has had a lot of changes over the last few years, 2021 in particular. And Marty, you've asked a lot of questions on kind of offense or defense. And what was interesting is I would say 2021 for us was a defensive year because, we heard from our, over 2,000 partners that our user interface was not the most beautiful, intuitive thing. And but it had amazing tools in there to help our MSP partners, really provide a defensive structure for human cybersecurity. So, it had everything from weekly micro trainings that are sent out on our MSP's behalf. It had over 500,000 end users in there that we were gauging their employee secure score. We were able to say, very similar to a FICO score, where do you stack up on everything and we'll do annual training to find that out, and we'll provide simulated phishing to understand kind of what your fail rate is, and we'll run dark web monitoring and all those consistent layered tools that MSPs are traditionally used to. But quite honestly, BSN kind of put it all under one roof, and it wasn't seamless at the time. So 2021 was that reactive time for us to say our partners really deserve all of this under one roof. They need it to be intuitive. They need it to speak on their behalf. And most importantly, they just need that widespread insight into the human behavior. So now in 2022, I'm really excited to announce that, again, we listened to our partners who said, now I need insight from the very beginning. I need baseline understanding of where my partners are at and where my end users are at. This will help me open the door to understand that risk and vulnerability. It is not easy to work through whitelisting when it comes to simulated phishing. And there are many MSPs who run a dark web report, for example, and get zero results out of it. And that's a tricky situation because there's no tangible result there that shows you just how vulnerable those actual humans and employees are. So we have launched the baseline employee cybersecurity assessment. Yes, that's a long word, so we do call it BECA. And BECA is pretty robust too. It is very much a prospecting tool. It's a 60-question survey. It's all multiple choice and true or false. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes of your end user's time, but it's all unique URL based. So it lives within our portal, and all you have to do is kind of enter the number of employees that you want to assess at a baseline. It sends them an email, kind of an invite from you as the MSP that says, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is just baseline, take your time, take this assessment at your leisure. It will break down kind of an assessment level of where their risk really lies. So ultimately, a report is sent directly to the MSP partners. It says, hey, out of these 6 categories, which we tried to focus on, real world risk measures like general cybersecurity and handling PII or social media, through those 6 categories, this is where your employees are most at risk. And it gets down to the nitty gritty in this baseline assessment. It will even say this particular employee really struggles with handling PII. This is very dangerous, or they're very strong in social media training and they're understanding the password protection component of things. But we really need to bring up our human security training on the back end, on the defense side again, to bring them back up to par. So this assessment is built into our module already. It's live today, so all of our current partners have access to it. It's not an additional charge. But my favorite thing about it, honestly, is from my MSP experience, I used to walk into the door, when I was prospecting, to a discovery call, and I would have my rapid fire tools, and I would have all of the components for my engineers to check all the bells and whistles. What's the hardware look like, and what softwares are they using? Yeah. But I didn't have a tool to say, how are their humans doing? The most at-risk component of their organization. And now we have that tool to expose that risk. You can bring that report with you and kind of show organizationally, we're doing quite poor, or you're doing great organizationally, but here's where those micro trainings are really going to help guide you onto that ongoing component. And it really takes the guesswork out of it for MSPs, but it also puts your end user, your client, at ease in saying, MSPs aren't just trying to sell me something. This is a very valuable component. I see what I am capable of or where I need to improve.
So it's interesting you say that, because I do think in a world of commoditization around technology, the human element is super important, but also businesses don't see their human element or you trying to protect the human element so much as a sale as they do an actual device. So even though you're selling the ability to train folks, it feels different, because it's not like, oh, they just wanted me to buy 9 more boxes of X, Y, or Z, right?
Right.
So I think that is an interesting offense piece in terms of selling. And then, so as a former high school math teacher, all about the testing. So I actually I worked at an assessment platform. And so I know that what is inspected is what is expected. And I also know that school systems that do the best job at ripping the Band-Aid off in terms of looking at the data make the most growth. So I would dare say that translates to businesses as well. Those that are willing to rip the Band-Aid off and take a look at the fact that, sorry, but Tracy, you've got to stop clicking on the cat memes. You're fishing every single time.
Don't call me out for that.
Right, but that's an important conversation, right? And so I think when I start looking at the X's and O's, similar to everyone else, like I started by saying, oh, that's offense, right? People need training, so I'm going to go sell training that helps the MSPs sell. But the reality of it is, when you protect the human element, which is the biggest threat to an organization, it is also defensive. Yes. And I mentioned with Sean and OIT how communication is part of the continuous improvement. It's part of any cycle. But I think that because of the way the training comes along with this, that's a continuous improvement piece also, right? When you take a baseline, you're not saying right out of the gate, we expect people to be perfect immediately, but we expect them to know where they are, to do something to get better, right? And we can watch that cycle. So it's the whole strategic conversation, right? Deliver that message over and over again that I think is really powerful.
It really does help sell the need. And then it's our job as MSP providers to say, here's how I'm going to help you get better. Here's the ongoing training I'm going to send to you on your behalf to help you improve, so that, you can become your own champion and you can guard yourself and safeguard yourself through your own education. But one other quick way that I think the baseline assessment and just overall ongoing cybersecurity awareness training could be an offense is, today's landscape with cyber insurance, for example, is so complicated and complex. And at this point, we'll be lucky if any MSPs qualify for cyber insurance, let alone their end users. And I'll say one of the factors in every cyber insurance provider I've seen has been ongoing cybersecurity awareness training, understanding where they're at base level. What are we doing to bring up their posture on a day-to-day basis? And so if we're not putting the cart before the horse and assessing where they are and showing a growth and encouragement, we're not even going to qualify for cyber insurance at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting how the insurance industry is pushing some of the sales for so many MSPs as well.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I've posted the poll, so if folks would like information about Breach Secure Now, please chime into the poll, and I will call up Alex Sparling next with Lifecycle Insights. So Alex, with the I Survived Jurassic sock shirt, I like it.
Sean outdressed me yesterday. I wasn't about to have it happen again.
That is fantastic. So let's see, am I showing your
Yeah, there's the baseball card.
Okay, perfect. So we're here to chat customer success, which is new in 2022, but do you want to talk a bit about why it's important, how we got to customer success through the rest of kind of the rest of the journey.
Well, yeah, because we spent 2021 really, thank God we could finally get out and meet with MSPs face to face a little bit, but we spent 2021 really talking to partners, listening to their feedback, collecting kind of where they are after they've organized and built the customer success or the client experience through onboarding and strategic or quarterly business reviews, whatever you want to call them, right? And so we started talking to them about, so what pain points are left? What's the next logical thing that you struggle with? And we heard the same things over and over and over. You know, we're starting to pull some good data points out of our tools, and it's wonderful, but we need more data points. And so as we talked about it, what we heard over and over was either data points related to customer health. What's their CSAT score? What's their security posture? You know, what are all these other sensitive things that we might care about? And the combining message there was, I'm worried about customer churn, or the conversation around, where do my opportunities live? How much of my stack have they consumed? Because believe it or not, there are still MSPs out there who don't sell a single standard plan to every single one of their customers, right? Some of them still have legacy customers around, as much as some of the talking heads in the industry would like us to believe that's not a thing. It's a thing. So, you know, where does the opportunity align there with the products and solutions they're currently consuming versus what I would have my perfect client consume? So where can I sell back into my existing client base and make more money? So along those lines, we really decided that 2022 had to be the year of customer success, right? We talked about, opportunity, we talked about risk, and basically how do those two things tie together to see how our customer not only makes it through a quarterly business review or 2 or 10, but what does that customer's journey look like when they're with us for 5, 8, 10 years? Because the average MSP keeps a customer for a long, long time. And we spend all of our time, all of our thought process on the beginning, getting them onboarded, getting the sales pitch done, getting them onboarded, doing those first couple of things, and then we kind of lose our focus. So with that, if you want to throw up the couple of slides we've got, we'll talk through, what those individual pieces look like.
So I've got health up first, but I can throw up Stack Alone, and if you would like.
No, that's fine. So health really, the same way that in the quarterly business review piece, we've gone out and taken key pieces of data to build that quarterly business review with a little bit of automation. We're doing the same with customer health, right? So we're going to go look at, how did they score on their last risk assessment, and what does that say about their security posture and how healthy they are? What is their their latest security score, or their security awareness score, right? We're going to reach right into Breach Secure Now. We're going to grab that security awareness data. We're going to grab that posture data. How is the human firewall? We're going to bring that in, and we're going to use it as a data point, because we know a customer who's not doing their security awareness training more likely to get breached. And what could get you fired as an MSP faster than losing all your customers' data because of a backup problem? Well, getting your customer breached, right? Those two things there are kind of numbers 1 and 2 for your customers. I'm not even sure which order that's in, but both absolutely terrible and likely to get you fired. So we'll look at security posture. We'll look at security awareness scores. We're looking at customer sentiment. What did the account manager say last time they talked to them? Do they love us? Are they somewhere in the middle? Are they really mad at us? Is their hair on fire? We'll look at things like CSAT scores. We'll look at organizational changes. So did a C-level executive leave? Is there an operations person who just left who's now going to come back, and the new person comes in with their favorite IT guy and goes, well, how do you like your IT guy? Oh, you gave him a bad CSAT score last time you talked to him? Come talk to my buddy. He's a great dude. He worked with me at my last company, right? And before you know it, they're on the phone with us going, hey, can I get the passwords to my network? One of my friends who's in IT told me I should always have those, right? And next thing you know, Rapid Fire Tools is out there running on my network, and I'm trying to figure out where it came from. So our goal with this is not only to identify and build that customer health score, but also to determine whether the customer's carrying a ton of technology debt and where the opportunity is for us to go out and build in new MRR where they're not aligned with our best practices and our stack. And that kind of takes us into that stack alignment component.
I say that is the perfect lead in to take a look at where your opportunities are, for sure.
So identifying where our opportunities are, this is another one where we sat and talked about it. We're like, the data is just right there in front of us and nobody's using it, right? So
people couldn't get it. I mean, we heard that from all of our partners is like, we would love to see this without having to cobble it together manually.
And the number one answer was, I've got a spreadsheet and I do this by hand, right? Which is terrible. Followed by, I don't do this because it's too much work. But in reality, for a lot of our partners, we're able literally just to reach into ConnectWise, read their invoice for their managed services, and see what products and services they use and check the check boxes. It's really that simple, is to just go through your clients and say, I have this product, I don't have this product, I have this one, I don't have this one. And you'll see yellow in there, right? Red and green are have it, don't have it. Yellow is, hey, I've got something else deployed that kind of does the trick because I onboarded this customer. They had a Sonic Wall firewall. They had just bought it. It's got 3 years of maintenance. My guys can support a Sonic Wall. So we'll hang on to it for a little while, but eventually we're going to make them throw it away, right? So we have a functional device, but it's not my favorite device, and it might still represent some opportunity in the future. So with all that, we can go through and decide, by adding additional products and services to our existing customers, how much value lives out there. And you can see based on this graph, I've got 2 customers here in the 4,000s and another one in the 6,000s of MRR that I can add back to these customers just by going in and selling them the same products and services that I have deployed across the rest of my client base. So filling out that stack with all of your customers is really, we're hearing it represents anywhere from 30 to 50% upsell in your MRR to your client base. And we're giving you the tool to see it, strategically plan for it, and use it as part of your delivery for your QBRs, for your sales meetings, for your conversations with your clients.
Yeah, it's interesting that the insights that our beta partners have chatted to us about when they've seen the data, looking at them like this.
It's eye-opening, isn't it?
Yeah, really is. So back to my X's and O's. Lifecycle insights, along with everybody else, really helps address the strategic human element side of the house, right, with customer success. And so I put a lot of offense there, but I think always protecting, quarterly business reviews, customer success with upsell opportunity is always on the offense in terms of sells and upsells. But really, you mentioned earlier, when you get insights into customer health, there's a defensive strategy to reduce churn. And if you don't have insights onto this, really keeping an eye out for those triggers, like a new CEO who's got his IT guy / nephew, that wants the passwords to the keys to the kingdom, I think is another defensive move. The other piece in the land of defense is how much time automating some of these pieces that folks, you said the 2 magic things. They're either say, we're doing it manually and it takes forever, or we're not doing it at all because it takes forever.
Because it takes forever. Yep.
Yeah, I think Jim from SAS, I heard him say the same type of thing, is that this is not information a human could collect one at a time, that they kind of need, then you need the automation because otherwise it's a job that sometimes doesn't get done.
Right. So this really boils down to the standard sports analogy, right? Or the cliche sports analogy. Offense wins games, defense wins championships. So offense gives us the opportunity to upsell products into existing customers, right? It's that stack alignment piece and our previous tools that allow us actually to go in and close new customers. And then the defense that wins championships is just making sure that we understand what customer health looks like, so that no customer ever falls through the cracks and becomes a churn case because there were 10 individual little data points out there scattered in the ether between ConnectWise and a CSAT tool and 3 or 4 other places that we didn't know about, and we weren't able to put the puzzle together, right? If there's a dozen little things out there that are just a little bit off, eventually one of those is the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've thrown the poll up there so folks can answer if they'd like to learn more about lifecycle insights. So please chime in. I can see numbers coming through on that right now. And I am going to, so I have you pinned, but let me unpin you. And I invite all of the other presenters to come back on for the last few minutes. We're happy to answer questions. So if folks have questions, please put them in the chat. We're happy to answer as we go and as we wrap up. But if everybody else wants to come back on and give any final chat, what I'd be curious to hear is, as you listen to everybody else, did you either, Brad at the beginning had the disadvantage of going first and then not being able to say like, oh, wait, but what Jim said also relates to how we are. So curious if anybody had any thoughts on additional ways somebody else they feel like represented offense or defense or something they hadn't thought about for themselves. So because Zoom is weird, and if you wait, people either have to go back to my high school teaching days and raise hands, or everybody talks over each other, I will just plan on calling folks out. So that means hopefully folks are ready for this. Jim, I can see you're unmuted, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to any insights now that we've talked offense and defense to kind of wrap up the story for folks.
Well, I think it's amazing that basically every solution has an offensive and a defensive component to the solution, which ultimately is what MSPs need, right? I mean, if you don't have a solution that allows you to paint a value proposition that attracts customers and then make sure that your customers stay with you, then you, I think, need to reevaluate whether or not you actually need that tool. And it's great to see that this panel demonstrated that across the board.
Oh, that's a very good insight. And it's interesting because when I first thought, oh, let's chat offense and defense, Super Bowl's coming, like I'm a football fan, let's throw some X's and O's up there. I thought I was going to think, okay, security components are going to be all defense and sales tools are going to be all offense. But to your point, like the more I thought about everybody, the more I was like, yep, we're going to have circles and lines because they all do kind of all pieces of this. So Tracy, I can see that seems like that that fits with your thinking. What are your thoughts to wrap up?
Yeah, I thought interestingly last night, Alex said something that, just kind of made me pause and think a little bit. He said, sometimes the problem, or in this case, he was talking about problem children, problem employees, can become the opportunity. So kind of encompassing what you're saying, kind of multifaceted offense and defense. I mean, at least seeing that there's a problem, at least seeing that there's value in taking a step back to evaluate a problem, a risk, a vulnerability, or the fact that something's not being monitored, including every software piece you have, just saying it's valuable for my defensive and offensive strategy to just take a step back and take a global look at it, and then share all of that as the value add. I think that's so impressive that there are so many tools on this call today that do that. And I certainly hope MSPs know the value in adding that as a multi-layered approach, because it's not one thing that's going to solve all of these problems.
For sure. So I know for a fact Alex has places to be in 2 minutes. So I'm going to let him wrap for 30 seconds. We will end right at 2, because otherwise Alex will kick us right out of our Zoom room. It will go to commercial break is how it'll happen.
Go teach a boot camp.
Be quick so I can.
Yeah. So I mean, quickly. I mean, the big standout to me is just that all of the tools we have seem to have common threads, right? Everybody's talking about business reviews. Everybody's talking about how to get the value prop in front of your customer. And we're talking about integrations and passing data back and forth and those kind of things. And I just think that what we're starting to see is that it doesn't matter what stack an MSP has. They have to make sure that it all plays nicely together, and that that they know where they're going with it. You can't buy a tool and click a button and fix a problem. It's got to be part of a bigger strategy that shows value, that combines a lot of little data points from a lot of places. And we do that in conversation with our partners here, or just in, integrations and things like that. So that's the big takeaway to me, is just that, there's a lot of different ways to make the recipe. Whatever your recipe, make sure they're all headed towards the common goal.
Awesome. Thank you. Brad? You didn't know I was coming for him?
I assumed. I think, one of the biggest points that I want to emphasize from all of these strategies is, and all these products we've talked about today, is this is stuff that our customers need. So you, as the MSP, you have a lot of opportunities for selling all of these different solutions and products, but it's something that the customer actually needs to run their business effectively. And at the end of the day, by implementing these solutions, whether it's DRaaS or analytics or what have you, or security, this is going to save them down the long run. This is something that, is absolutely necessary to their business. And by offering this to them as a solution, not only are you making a margin on it, but you're also giving them a good service that's going to protect their business. And I think that's what I gained most from the call today, is that just some of the incredible stuff that all of these products can do to be able to, help our customers of the MSP to actually make sure that their business is going to be secure, it's going to be safe, and that they also know what's going on with their business.
Awesome. And Sean, I'll send it to you to wrap it up, because we gotta log out. What do you think?
Yeah, I can't add anything. Everybody stole all my thunder, so all my talk points are gone. Yeah, biggest takeaway is exactly what Brad just resonated, which everybody said, which is everybody seems to have every product here has a value for business need. It's no longer talking about widgets and trinkets and stuff like that. It's not magical. It's actual products people can use at their level and at the client level. So, which is really nice. So actually solving problems across the board. And the nice thing is they're all applicable to your product, which is amazing how that all works together.
How convenient. All right. Well, thank you all. We got to go. We have boot camp to do, but hope everybody got some value out of it, and happy 2022.
Take care, everybody.